Okay, so the first thing I want to say about this is I want to be able to see this two ways. I both want to be able to look back like this and see what's to the left. So that's a smaller profile, but it's hard to see the detail on the smaller profile. So I have that over here on one of my screens off to the right, and I can see that pretty clearly at all times, and I have an idea of where the market is and isn't. So let's write down a couple rules about this. So first of all, the easiest place to execute is always behind a 30-minute bar in its entirety. Okay, but this serves in ways that you wouldn't normally think of. So first of all, it sets the range automatically for you. Secondly, see these big volume builds? Let's say I wanted to go long. So I have no idea that we won't run. Or let's say I wanted to go short, right? Just within this 30-minute period. I want to execute behind this. The white lines are value area high and value area low. So just like in our regular profile charts, like if you'll look right now, let me attach this one really quick chart. Attach chart window. Erase lines. Yes. Erase lines. Yes. Okay, so just like any other window, if I get outside of value area or unfair pricing, like right there, right? That's one area that I would want to go, okay, if I can get over that and I can find an entry. So you can see it just peekabooed above the last 30 minutes. There's also clearly a low volume node there. Now here's the other part. Let's say I badly wanted to get long. Okay, so guys, y'all know I'm not the best. Let me see this really quick. Okay, so the first thing that you will see, again, I'm going to go back through this. Oh, and I forgot. Good morning, guys. This is Simon
Got
with
it.
Trade
I'll
and
start
Perform.
taking notes from here. Please continue with the details
Oh
of
my
your
gosh.
meeting.
Good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. It is Friday morning, 9/6, GDP day. GDP day. Why don't I have? Hold on one second. That'll pop up somewhere. There we go. If you will take a moment to read this, I'll leave it up for 5 seconds. Okay, I've done that. Let's take this down. Okay, so going back to my notes, I have Chat GPT or Copilot or something taking notes for me. So the first thing is the value area high, value area low. But probably the most important thing about this is, see where you have a big volume build like this? Okay, you want to highlight that. Don't execute inside that. See this from here to here? Don't execute in that box. Just don't. Like take that to the right, get below it, get above it, and then the low volume node. So obviously this needs to be repaired down below. You'll see how we rejected. Now, here's what, let me warn you, here's what I wanted to do naturally. You want to simply short when it gets above. Don't do it. Make sure you have an apex trap, an algo, something from our toolkit to take the trade, right? But the most important thing for me is, in order to avoid getting chopped, don't trade where all the volume is. Okay? Don't trade where all the volume. Now, if it gets outside and then comes back in and you want to take that, that's fine on process. But don't trade in here. It's just going to wish-wash all the way through here, just like over here. So if you'll look from earlier, right? So I can take an earlier example. this is where we are. I'm going to bring this in a little bit. There we go. Okay, so if you'll look from an earlier example, right? I would have said, right, if I'm going to execute. So this is where we were right before econ. This is obviously 730 econ number. Get this out of the way. I'm sorry. This is the econ number, right? So I would have looked at this and I would have said a couple of things. So see how big and wide that is, right? I don't want to execute in any of that mess. I want something that's low volume, right? So when I look at this, I would have gone like this. I would have said, I want to look and execute here. Okay, if you look, there's big volume behind it, right? So I'm going to just draw this how I see it. There's big volume behind it. That's one area. And then see over here, where, see how the volume falls off? And then where it gets really low, there's a little clip, which is why you need to make this big. You can't see it, but you'll see volume massively falls off right there. See that? It just falls off. It's just a little tiny place, right? But there's no volume there, right? Secondly, I want to execute out, if I can, outside of the fair value, which is the white lines. This is all new. You just consider this a coaching session, guys, because it's going to take work to get it down, okay? And then I want the algo to kick in. Now, inverse. Let's say I wanted to short for some crazy reason non-farm payrolls afterwards, right? So it slingshots down here. So the place I would have looked to want to short would have been right in here. It's where the low volume is, right? So I'm going to highlight that. And then we can go look and see how it treated it, right? Did it pause? Did it stop? How did it look, right? So now I can come over here. I'll turn this color. Doesn't matter. There. So here's 730. Okay, so here's 730. See, we shoot through. Oh, it's all 730. So you see, we shoot through right into where we really, I wanted this. I don't know if we got it, but that's what I wanted. Right? Looks like it missed. Oh, no, it got it. Right there. See that? Okay, now, on the way up, right? On the way up, had I wanted to short, right? This would have been the area I would have looked to short. So it's ridiculous in the example because we were on non-farm payroll, right? That's all in seconds, right? But you can see how it goes right to it. That's the low volume node. And look, even in that speed, look how the market goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It wants to find a reason to fill in the volume. Okay, so this is what I want you to write down. The market wants to find a reason to fill in the volume or reverse from those areas. Okay, so next, this also sets the range, right? So I really struggled the last 2 days with how wide the range has gotten, right? And as I was speaking to Ed yesterday, Ed said something, you know, he noted, first of all, let's note some things. I got really agitated yesterday, so my apologies for that. I try really hard to get it right all the time, and sometimes that leads me to over-demanding what my performance should be. Okay, number two, I got agitated because I couldn't tell what the natural rotation was, and Ed just said something really simple to me. He goes, Simon, this is showing you the natural rotation, right? Let me give you an example, okay? This morning, if I'm looking to trade, right? If I'm looking to trade, I know for me, this whole area in here, I don't want to trade in, right? This 18,840 is the closest I want to start trading. It does not mean that I'll get it. It just means if I'm developing a discipline, if I trade inside where all this volume is, I should expect to get chopped around, right? And have a difficult time. Because I can, if you'll look on your chart, you'll see example after example of where this area gets, this is where apex traps get stopped. This is where you get a good signal and it immediately stops out. That all happens in here. So if you'll develop the habit of not trading in here, right, you'll have a much easier time. If anyone disagrees with me, you're welcome to state your disagreement. But this should all make sense if you've read Mind Over Markets. And the other thing I want to credit two people on this, Bill for helping me set this up, but also Louis DePayne, although he doesn't tell you how to use it. He just posts example after example of how he uses it. And it's taken me probably a good year to learn how to do this on this short a time frame on the profile, right? So there's two things that I want to do mentally that'll help me, right? I want to trade underneath the value area low of the prior 30 minutes. That gives me a place to relax, or above the value area high of the prior 30 minutes or a prior 30 minutes. Next, I want the volume to look anemic, right? I want the volume to look anemic, and I'm really looking for where it gets to single prints, like down here. This is where I'm really looking. Now, it's important. You can't just go single prints, I'm going long. First of all, you can see it can cover quite a bit of range. 720 all the way up to 770, 50 points, right? So you need the rest of your setup to set up the trade. I'll obviously be doing this on ES as well, right, as I get a chance. Secondly, it's a lot of work, right? So if you look, and I posted this example in the screen. So there's a second way to do this, and I'm going to show you. But I obviously posted this example this morning. Okay, there we go. So see, what I was trying to point out is, see that low volume node right there? I didn't mean to. There you go. See that low volume node right there? What I was trying to point out, right, is that's when it comes back to this, that's exactly where I want to trade. If you go look, we bounced right out of this, right? And then the other part is, as I drew this profile, so this is drawing the profile off the wave itself. So it tells me, secondly, see this big volume build right here? Ed and I were discussing this. Where I want to trade is behind where the biggest part of that volume build is, which is this right here. So when I'm looking, I'm going to go, hey, I want to sneak right behind this volume. And where I don't want to trade is in that volume. Okay, so I'm going to pause. Is this making sense, or is this confusing as shit and I should stop right now? Okay, Joyce, when I look at this profile, right, so forget the current crazy, right? See this right here? See where all this volume is, right here? Well, it's going to the right, but it's this right here. Okay, Randy, I'm all right with that. So see this? I don't want to trade there at all. I don't want to, actually, as a matter of fact, I really want to get past this whole build to squeeze to where the underlying value is. Randy, why don't you think it's practical in real time that they're 30-minute bars and you're looking backwards? Like, per example, let's say I'm trading here and you go, where do you want to short? So remember, this is 330. No, because, I see what you're saying. It's not, because when I'm here, I'm only looking here. Does that make sense? If I'm trading right here, if I'm trading here, I don't know why this won't highlight. And no one obviously has to use this. I will. It helps me because I understand where the stretches come. It is. You're actually 100% correct. So look at it slowly now. Watch. You go along here. Damn it, why won't it? There. You go along here. Let's see if I can get it next. For some reason, there. You go along down here, right? So remember, all you have is this over here. So now I'm going to go long down here. I'm going to have two targets, okay? From here, this area right here is my first target up. right? We're gonna go. I'm gonna go show you the summit. This is 4 in the morning, right? So we're gonna make that zone 1. Okay, and then my next target, my best idea if I wanted to short is I'm gonna say, get behind value area high, and this is zone 2, right there. Okay, we'll make that color white. All I'm dealing with is 2 areas. I know where value area high and value area low is. I know where there's a big hole here, and then I know where the biggest hole is there. Okay, so that makes it very clear, and I'm in unfair pricing up here off a 30-minute basis. My next target, by the way, I would extend up and do just like this. Okay, so now we're going to start here. This is where this 30-minute session went long, and we're going to magically pretend we knew how to go long right here in the green box. Okay, and this is 4 in the morning. Okay, now I'm going to do chart. It's right at the bottom. It's that little white marker. Okay, so there we are. There's my line. I'm going to go along arrow, pink bar stuffed right there. It's an apex trap. And there's my targets, right? There's the gray area. There's target 1. And there's my target 2. Now, notice when I get to target 2, I don't have a short setup, right? Short setup comes in target 3. Remember the red area over there? Right? There's a short area. And I don't actually get an algo in there. It just rejects out of that area, right? Just like that. Okay? So that's all I'm doing. Okay, that's all I'm doing. The market likes to fill in low volume nodes. I'm using it for targeting, location, and you have to have the algo. If you short into that and go, that's a single print, you're gonna get smoked. If you don't control risk, you're gonna get smoked. But now I go, I'm long here, right? And up here's my target. That's a lot easier, right? And if you'll notice, when you got there, you reject the first time and actually roll down. So you still have to think through what's it going to want to do, right? Now, you could have said the exact same thing without that, right? Oh, apex trap, travel to the top of the other side, and Bob's your uncle, right? This is a more precise way of dealing with the market. So just like when you come in this morning now, before the open, and I'm going to say 2 things. First of all, so I need to look behind that area. So since we're in non-farm payrolls, and first of all, I know we open at 8:30, right? I can see we're trading at 19,387. So my guess is, right, that we're going to come in and we're going to fill in this space right here. Why? Why won't you work? There we go. My guess is somewhere in there we'll have an initial rejection. I wouldn't dare trade it on the open on non-farm payrolls. My next area, let me erase lines. So if I'm setting up pre-market, I'm going to do this. Oh wait. Yes, because, okay, so my assumption is that we won't open up here. If we do, I'll have to erase it, right? So if we open up here, it's this, and it's this. That's the micro level. Then, I don't want to trade from here to about right there, right? That becomes a no trade zone. Why? Because it may work, but there's too much volume in there already, okay? So starting down here and below value area low of the econ, I can start to look for responsive buyers. And my best area, although it's massively unauctioned, is 18,785 to 18,722. That's the extent of my analysis. So that's why I'm not going through 50 million billion different 30-minute zones, Randy, because I'm just looking really at the 30 minutes prior or whatever's around that area when I get in there. And if I have nothing, I'm not going back 200 days. You can, but I'm going to wait till the profile develops. And now I know I definitely don't want to trade at 18,943. Wherever I'm going to trade, I do not want to trade in here, right? There's too much volume. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So just think of it as a daily the best way to do this is to think of it as a daily profile. Okay, the same rules apply. Okay, stay out of high volume areas, look for low volume areas. That's where the market wants to reverse. Ed, did I do an okay job of explaining it? You think? Okay, next, if I start to Randy, I've been at this for over a year. This is the first time I've come close to feeling like I understand it well enough to use it in the rim. So I hope I explained it well enough. It's been around a long time. I credit Lewis a lot. Lewis makes a lot of money using this. He does very, very well. So like, for example, see this? If I was going to short now, see how developed this is? I'd want to get past this into this. If I was going to go long, I'd either want to get in here. This is B grade. This is Fantastico if I can get down here. Okay, so I'll have this chart off to the right. There's just not enough space on this screen. And I have a bigger one. Dang, what did I do with it? Secondly, it's non-farm payroll. I'm trading one Apex account. That's it. All the other accounts I'm trading, I've already turned off for the night. I had a good night last night. And I'll be mostly teaching today. Okay? It's non-farm payrolls. The ranges have been wide. I did not have a good day yesterday emotionally. I over-responded to the market. And yeah, that's my 2 cents. I know I do not want to trade in here. I do not care if it's the best trade in the world that comes out of here. I will discipline myself not to trade in the high volume areas. Fire questions, guys. I don't know what we have left on the econ table either. Let's see. William speaks at 7:45. 10 a.m. FOMC member Waller speaks. That's it. I don't have anything else. If anyone has any questions, you can fire away. Otherwise, normal profile, normal high lows, etc., etc., etc. 15 is probably going to be way too fast in the morning. Make your money, get your money, get out. I have some more stuff I'll be talking about later this morning, but get your money, make your money, get out, right? That's the same story over and over. So here we are at 8:30. This is the low volume node. This is exactly where I would expect if it was going to reject, that it rejects, right? Now the odds of it rejecting there are probably zero. We've been going up like 100 or 200 points or down 100 or 200 points. There you go. Randy, that's why that's important. From the prior 30 minutes, this is value area high. This is value area low. Those two yellow lines. So obviously I have to have a better way of denoting all that, and you can break it down in your own chart book. No sellers, no buyers either, and no sellers. Okay, cool. We're down 28. Pretty much neutral. Down 50, excuse me. Great job, dude. This is the area I do not want to trade in. All the way down to here. I don't want to trade in that area. So, what we learned for this morning, price should reject above value area high. It did. Came down to support. Did not find responsive buyers. Purple bar stuffed on 15, nothing on the 24. Back into value area, into that low backside test of that low volume node, right? And now we'll see what she does. Back to low volume node, reject again. I don't want to trade in that whole area, so I'm looking to get below 18,848 and a quarter. Does anyone know how to change the font on the lines in this? I don't. So that's why I'm asking. I mean, my numbers are so small I can't see them on my lines. If it's easy or someone knows the direction, let me know. So again, this is the hole that it's filling in. See this? We're just coming in. We're filling this hole right here. So see now how we have all that volume filling the hole? Right? So where's the next hole? This still needs to be filled in. See how it filled in with all that volume? Okay, and then it'll decide what it wants to do. Right? There's the point of control right in the middle. Okay? And I also know I don't want to trade in the middle of all this crap. I want to get to the edges. I have another chart that in general shows me where all the other 30-minute levels are, so I can get an idea of what I'm working with here. F5, load, 3. There we go. There's all my other 30 minutes, so I have a nice pretty picture of what's going on in general. That's it. So see how I'm in the middle here? Normally I'd go like, oh, pink bar dot stuffed, right? But I'm right in the middle of the profile, right? I'm right in the middle of this 30 minutes where all the volume is, right? So even though the trade worked, that's where I get chopped, right? I don't get chopped where there's the least amount of volume, right? So again, same place I want to wait for. I want to get below 18,848. Of course, the first half hour rules still apply, obviously. This is also about the 50-60 back. And prior to econ, we had support. In here. That's where the support was, where we bounced off. And resistance closer to the 18,800 specifically. Okay, so now I can just watch how it behaves. Okay, I'm in a low volume node here, right? I can see that from looking at my chart. I'm in a low volume node. Am I in the lowest volume node? No, but I'm in a low volume node, right? So I can watch and see how it behaves in this area. So now we had where it rejected from at the high, what it had to break below to roll lower, which was that 18,920, which is where it fell apart. And now we see how we got into this low volume node now. I'll grant you, it hasn't reversed, but it stopped free falling, right? It stopped free falling and they're negotiating it now. Why? Because there's a hole there, right? And that's why they're negotiating it. And the reason I was pushed to do this is because I was disappointed by the number of algo alerts that failed at the rate that I take them, and I had to come up with a solution as to why. So now you see we're filling in that hole. See that? It stopped. I'll grant you, it's not the deepest hole, this is, but it stopped and it's filled this in. Where's the next area? Right here. Specifically that right there. Okay, that's the next area that needs to be filled in. Okay, and you'll see that they are trying to fill that in. Right, we're pretty much down at this point. Right. And the reason it's acting like this is because it's filling in that little tiny hole right there, right? Yellow dot down, bar up. Now we need this thing to respond on the 24. And really we'd like that pink dot to show to the upside, just like that. See that? Now we want it to lift. Does that make sense to everybody? Now it's coming down, and you still have to get to the single prints, which are below. This is your next area right here. And we're obviously open drive lower, by the way. So now I filled in some of these single prints, and now I have these all down here. Okay, like I said, this was the most desirable area, right? So I'm going to go through this again. Medium, we paused, right? We paused. Responsive buyers. All the way down through this, responsive buyers, right? That's why this is important. So now on the way back up, right, if we start to rally, I'm going to have different colors, but this right here, why can't I draw off to the right on this thing? That area right there, I know there's a million lines on here. I'm going to have to figure that out. But that green area there, that's your low volume node on the way back up, and your likely target back in. Okay, where did I get that? That's from the current 30 minutes. There's a hole right in the profile there. You can't miss it, right? But there's too many lines appearing, so I need to think about that. And it's going to go right to it. See what I mean? Nice, Brian. Brian, you should have that chart. By the way, brother, I distributed it. Still there. They haven't filled in that hole yet. Still 64 to 76. And then back down. So now we still have the unauctioned. Here, I'm going to change colors on this. They have unauctioned down there. This is no longer important until this 30 minutes is done at least. And you still have this area right up in here. Should fall out of that. So the only thing is me getting the analysis. So part of the reason I got so agitated yesterday is it's hard to do the analysis and the trading simultaneously, right? So I'm having to really fly across. Like I'm not getting my trades, I guess would be a good way to put it, that I would take otherwise. So I'm just going to have to get faster. I'd like to see him push into that actually and try to fill that hole and reject out of it. But you can see like that. And it can trade through there quickly. So see there, so see how it looks like it stopped here? It just gave you a pink dot down, volume bar to the downside. And if you'll look yesterday, your pink dots down worked really, really good yesterday. That pink dot down, so I made them bigger on the 24. They worked really well on the outside edges. That's why I made them bigger. So that's one of the difficulties with just running the room in general, is that the algo that works best rotates. So if you'll look now, there's only one little bit of that hole left to fill in. See how they came? See how that hole was there? And it's right here. That's the last little bit of that hole left to fill in. So it's come back to repair itself in its own profile. Does that make sense? Like it didn't repair an old profile, it repaired itself intra profile. Right? So this little area right up here, this is the last little area that needs to repair, that 69 to 75. And it doesn't have to fix it now. It can fix it in the next 30 minutes or in 10 hours from now. Right? So now when I look at the profile and I want to know, well, where's it going to go, right? So my target intra profile would be this. Like right there. That would be my next target down, intra profile, right? And that's inside value area, and I want to remember that because it's harder to trade in that area. But this should give us a significant edge. The only problem with me doing all this is I'm going to be exhausted by 10 o'clock. It's a lot of freaking work. So now I would remove this. That's no longer my target. This is my target now. That's where I want to find shorts. Not here anymore because I filled in the volume over here. And then my next area is 18,808 to 18,803. And remember, be very cautious with just buying it into that. Because it can just zip right on through. Or fly the hell out of there. Randy, you start to see the value? It will take a lot of work to get good at this. I'm telling you, I've practiced this for months now. It took me a long time just to put all the pieces together and decode it, because one thing that Louis DePayne won't tell you is how he does it. So it took me a lot of work to figure it out. Please don't take it and hand it to somebody else either. It would really suck. It's not copyrightable, but it would take a lot of work to do this. See ya. And it's a low volume node still, but not nearly as predominant. See that? If you look at your chart, see it came in, filled in. There's still a tiny little bit right there that it's filling in, but it's pretty much fixed it. So now this is what needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed. And then if you look over here, this has changed. You would do this. And it's minor, like that, is what you would do. And it can blast through them, just FYI. Okay, you can blast through them. And then here we come down. So remember, the single prints have been re-auctioned now, so you would move this back. like this. That's what it looks like now. It's down here. So it's a constant adjustment of the chart based on where the volume's being put in. And now the area I would not want to trade in would be this area here. I'll color it blue. I would not want, okay, I understand that it can reject out of that area, but this is where all the volume is. Okay, and so it can just, at the end of the day, net trade through it. Okay, I want to trade above it. There's a low volume node. You'll notice how it's set up is all the volumes underneath. Low volume nodes right over here. So this can get traded through. You can already see that it's demonstrated the ability to trade through. And where I want to get my trade is preferably under this. Not quite lined up, but apex trap underneath. Why? I know there's no volume underneath it. It's one of two options. Hard rejection out of there, right? Or sweep and wipe the whole thing out. Those are my two options. But I'm looking for setups within that process. And the best would be right at the back of that, right? Now also remember, we're in the process of giving back the entire move up off the number, okay? And then there's going to be some times where people are going to go like, well, shit, Simon, look, I missed this because it was in this. I can't get the rules to work both ways, right? I just can't. You're going to have to decide, and that's how I decided, because I know the low volume nodes are where I have the best opportunity to grab big points. And then this is important. This is the drive higher. Okay, so here's the low at 730. Doing my best to keep up with all the little pieces. We're behind the 62 retrace. And that's usually not what you wanted to see. Right? I know I could end up resenting saying that and watch it fly, but it's usually not, or often it's not. There, that's the 62 retrace. And you would have expected people to hold that, and now that puts this low in danger, right? So I know there's a lot of lines on that. I'll have to think through how to make it more efficient, but I'll keep the commentary up as I go through it. And the other piece I wanted to bring to people's attention is the pink dot on the outside channel is giving big extensions, and particularly in the direction of, not the stuff necessarily. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I am working very hard on my own trading. One thing is that I've been finding myself compelled to do more and more higher and higher numbers. Like, for example, I'll be up, let's say 10K in the account early in the day, right? And I'll go, well, I've got to do 20K. 10K is not enough. Or if I'm up 50K, I've got to do 100K. 50K, and then when I get to 100, I do the exact same thing to myself again. I repeat that performance pressure. No number's good enough, and so I'm going to be working on that because it's not healthy or productive, and it adds to my agitation, right? So, again, I feel bad about how agitated I got yesterday. This is a lot of work to put together and figure out how to introduce and then execute, both from a room perspective, a coaching perspective, and a personal execution perspective. It's just a lot of work, right? So that's that. And if you look on your profile, you'll see we're slowly filling in volume, right? You'll see we're slowly filling in volume, right? There's a lot of volume up here, right? So I want to get in here, and then I want to trade through all this volume, and then I'm either going to reject here, break out. If I hold up here, I'm going to get up here and re-examine this, okay? You'll see we came right back to that 12, right, and rejected. The 19, that's the 62 retrace. See, like challenges, that's normally very bearish, and I'd want to be short there. It's also the beginning of where all the volume is, although it's extended down now a little bit. So I need to think about that. That's what I need to do. Like, how do I handle that situation, right? Because clearly I'd go, oh, it's short underneath that. Underneath IB low, it's behind the 62 retrace. But I'm looking long from 70 to 52. Like, I got to scratch my head on that for a sec. And I'm just looking for the next best trade. The other thing is, I'll find myself confused as to what I want to do and feel compelled to call or point out a trade in the room. I get over intense about it. So I'm going to de-intensify that. If I can see it, I'll call it. And if I can't, it happens, right? I can't expect myself to be perfect. No one else in the room does, but I do. So, okay, now we're back into those single prints, right? Right, going into 9 o'clock. I'm looking for an algo, and I'm looking for an understanding of how it's doing it down in here, right? Notice I'm not going long just because I'm in the single prints, right? I'm not. And I can see it accelerating. See how it's accelerating quickly through here now, right? I want to be very cautious with that, right? And the problem here is when it turns, it's just going to turn. But you can lose a lot of money guessing where it's going to do that. O'clock, whoosh, right down to the bottom. That's where it should find a responsive buyer somewhere in here. Again, I'm looking for a pink dot specifically over here on the 24. We've done this, so that's an impulse move, right? So that's either a low. So if you want to see what that looks like as it's developing, just do this. So that's complete. It's going to want to fill in this hole right here. And then, so we'll see between that and the point of control. But that auctioned off that unauctioned area, so the auction may be complete. I wanted a pink dot up there because that's what's been reversing and giving the big extensions. But this has been much easier. From my perspective, this has been much easier to tell y'all and help y'all find where a good place is to take risk versus just going off the profile. It's much more specific, right? I can go look at this profile now, so I can say, right, with confidence, see, we just finished this 30-minute profile, so two things. My best short actually lies back over here, believe it or not. But my next one, now I can cut this off. It's all been taken care of. You can see all the volume that went in down here. See how all the volume's at the base? That's a good sign, right? That ends up starting to form a B-shaped profile at the bottom. And the first place the market's going to come back in and fill a hole in will be right here to here. That's where it's going to. So just like that, the profile changed, right? The profile changed. I need to fill this hole in, right? And then I want to see if they come back and test this 18,720, right? If they retest this 18,720, I know all the volume. I'm getting a B-shaped profile, but the 30 minutes just began, right? So I know where my hole is. I know where my area I want to work. And now I'm going to extend the area I don't want to trade through here. This is behind this. 18,880 to 18,810 is the next place I want to trade. I don't want to trade anywhere from 810 to 870 until I get to 870 to 880. Okay? It took me a minute to, after I practiced this, to actually get it into motion. You know, and these guys need to do something with this. This sucks that they make it this big. I guess I'm just going to park it right over here. Okay, so see how we're pushing up into that right now? That's exactly what I want them to do. Okay? It's exactly what I want them to do, right? So that I can get the trade out of that location. Just like that. Okay? Just like that. I want them to push in, reject, and then I'd prefer an algo out of there or stuffed bar. So yellow dot stuffed is fine. Pink bar stuffed is fine. Pink dot down out of here is fine. For a retest down into the structure where I know all the volume is. I can't tell that all the volume is here from this profile, but I can tell all the volume is there from this profile. See that? I can see all the volume went in. Now it's different, right? See how they fit all this volume in here? They filled in this hole. Now it's equal, right? So now what do I want to do? I need to get past this. I don't have anything here. Like nothing jumps out at me. Obviously, you could just say, well, what about this? Right? But it's right in the middle of the profile, and it just doesn't look exceptional to me. Maybe it's only a couple minutes in, so it needs more time to develop, right? But it gives me a pretty clear area of what I'm looking for, right? And so now, at the minimum, I'd want to trade down here below the value area low, and I'd want to get past this volume peak, because I know there's no volume on the other side of that peak now, right? The prospect of it has changed, right? So now I'm looking for the down bar with the algo or something stuffed on it. And if not, it can continue on its merry way. Pink bar stuffed on the, and that would be an 81 stop if you took that. Oh, there's the pink dot. If it'll push back up into that, I will short. I missed it. Sorry, I was looking at the profile. There, I'll short there. 65 against 82. May not work. It may just get stuffed. I'm willing to take the risk. Yeah, it's had some big extensions on it. My target on that would be to get to, now I have a prominent low volume node relative to everything else. My target is that yellow line, 72675. Scale half. And buy limit 30 for the balance. I missed so far, but that's all right. Guys, is this helping the commentary? Is it helping y'all understand, or is it confusing you? I really need to know. Still helping? I hope it's not COVID either, brother. Feel better. Rest up. Okay. Full turn on that for me on the balance. I still got paid, but not as well as I wanted to. And the thing is, you can't. So stopped on. I'm going to be stopped on balance, I think. Yeah, stopped on balance, and that's fine. Okay, I know I'm going to make some mistakes going along here, right? There's a low volume node now sitting right here. The big volume now starts here. And I'm starting to get tired. It's really just a lot of work. There's where the volume starts. Make it color white. So this pink area actually extends all the way down. There's a low volume node right above it. Oh, right there. That's the next little area. And again, I'd like to poke in and poke out of that. You would expect that to be support now, hypothetically. This is where I get in trouble. I've done pretty well so far this morning, and I don't break off and go, let me reset, right? I just don't. I just go, I can do more. I can do more. It's not, and then I start getting tighter and tighter, trying to be better and better when I've already done a good job. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay, it's 9:10. Done a pretty good job for 40 minutes, solid finding location stuff, and I'm tired now. Okay, so I worked really late last night, getting the charts out, and then making sure I had the process down, working on my journaling because I wasn't happy with my behavior yesterday. So this is what I would say. Our best trades are now going to come above 18,870, right? Or we need to, there's no prominent low volume node. We're just putting a lot of volume down here, filling this in. Over here, if you asked me, well, have we done the job? We've done the job of filling in this low volume node now. From an auction market theory, the market's free to go back up and recheck up on higher prices. And since we're in balance, that would make sense. We checked up underneath the 30-minute bar. We trapped. This would be relatively easy to travel through if the buyers so desire. And since we've been having 100 and 200 point ranges from 18,710, pitch you up at 18,810 for 100 and 18,910 for 200, and both of those are achievable, right? That's one area I've really been falling down on, right? That's one area I've been falling down on. So I just need to remember that, right? What would be best here if we could put the big chunk of volume down here and finish that 30 minutes at the high, but we haven't done that yet. So I know I'm tired now. I can hear it in my voice, and I can feel it. I've had a very good night / morning. The night in particular, I caught the low off that 100-point move in Asia, and I did really well. So I just nailed it. Lucky, I'll call that, because it didn't challenge it. It just went straight up, right at like 8:30, like right at 8:30 it took off, or something like that. Wherever it was, I was out here, right? So I'll just wait till this 30 minutes is over, and I'll re-examine once I have a new look, and I'll be right back. I hope everyone got paid. I would have loved for it to press in here. That would have been fantastic. So now we're rechecking up on this down here, but I don't have anything definitive. There is a low-ish volume kind of node, but Nothing that makes me want to jump out. We're just putting in more volume and rechecking up on the single prints, but I'm going to leave it alone for a couple minutes and I'll see where I'm at. Okay, talk to you in a minute. See, we went for a little silly. Okay, I'm just gonna watch for a minute and see what we got. Go to the bigger picture and look to the left. I don't have enough bigger picture days. Okay guys, give me just a second. Hey.
Do you have the case look on? I was gonna put the windows up. I don't know. Because I can move it inside too.
Yeah, if you want to, that's fine. The air compressor's on the front right tire. On one of them. Just so you know. Okay, no problem. So let's look. Oh, we're going quite a ways back, aren't we? Let's do this. We don't have enough days loaded. Let's see. And I froze our unit. Let's see. Hey guys on YouTube, thanks for joining us. I thought we did a great job this morning, and we'll be back on Monday.